Hi, you guys. Can you guys hear me? Put it in the chat if you can hear me. Okay, Belle, thank you. Okay, great. Awesome. Well, we're a few minutes early, but I wanted to hop on and say hello. I'm so glad you guys are here. To join me for tonight, we're gonna have a fun paper piecing party. So thank you for joining. So in the meantime, I would love to hear where you are joining from. So please put in the chat where you are from and where you're joining. Let's see. Ooh, Tessa's in the Caribbean, Canada, South Carolina, Michigan, Ohio, Texas, Oklahoma. Oh, so cool. Lots from all over. Arkansas, LA. Alicia's from Wisconsin. So cool. I hope this was a good time for everybody. But it will be recorded too. So in case you have to leave early or can't watch the whole thing, it'll be sent out to everybody. Utah, Rebecca, hello. I'm in Utah as well. Kansas City, Kentucky. Oh, this is so cool. Seeing everybody. Oregon, another Utah, lots of Utah. That makes me so happy. Wisconsin, quite a few from Wisconsin. You guys should link up and have some sewing days together. Colorado, Arizona. Oh, so cool. New Mexico. Well, I hope everybody is enjoying maybe some spring weather, maybe some warmth. We are currently, it's right now raining, so hasn't been much springtime weather for us yet, but hopefully soon. Texas, New York, New Mexico, Minneapolis. Oh, it's so cool. Thank you guys so much for joining. I love seeing where you're from. Another Kentucky. Oh, very, very neat. Okay, my next question for you guys is what level are you with foundation paper piecing? Beginner, intermediate, advanced? I would love to know. Oh, I'm glad. I hope that this YouTube Live was easy to connect to and get acquainted with. Okay, great. Never done it, beginner, advanced, awesome. From Chile. Very, very cool. Okay, so we've got a bit of a mixture. This is awesome. So cool. Well, I know that I hope that whatever level you are, you find some new tips maybe tonight, some new advice you haven't heard. I love attending tutorials and teachings about foundation paper piecing because I always learn something new. I'd love to hear too how you guys learned. I'm all self-taught on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. So it's just nice to always be growing my skills and learning more. If you hear my girls in the background, they are doing their typical craziness before bedtime routine. So I'm sure some of you can relate. Okay, good. It was easy to connect to the live. Oh, that's awesome, McKenna. I'm so happy to have you. Okay, great. Well, it is so nice to hear from you guys and hear your level and where you're from and everything. So thank you guys so much for joining. So to start, thought I would introduce myself. My name's Liza. I'm from Utah, as I said. I've been sewing for about 6 or 7 years. I have 2 little girls that you will definitely hear tonight. And yeah, I sew and this is my job and my hobby, and I just love it so much. And I am very, very passionate about foundation paper piecing, and I just want everybody to learn and everybody to know how to do it because it really is so fun for me. It's so fulfilling, especially this stage of my life. And I'm sure you guys can relate. I'm in a busy stage of life. So having those small, quick projects really, you know, are very fulfilling and satisfying and light me up. So with foundation paper piecing, you can make a quick block and, you know, feel satisfied from that and put it in a cute project. That's the other thing I love about foundation paper piecing is you can put them into other small projects, you know, hang them in a frame, put them in a pillow wall hanging, display them in your house. Super fun. So, yeah, that's why I just want everybody to learn foundation paper piecing so that you can experience it too. So, tonight I have some notes. So let me move them here. I just want to make sure I don't forget anything. So tonight with me, I have a co-host. Her name is Jess from Quilted Studios, and she will be in the chat, monitoring the chat, answering some questions if she's able to. And she's awesome. So if you don't know Jess, go find her on Instagram because she is a good friend of mine. And if you have questions specifically on foundation paper piecing, we will be doing a Q&A at the end of the tutorial. So make sure to save them. Save your questions for when I open up the Q&A and we can chat there. So then we also have a giveaway, a couple giveaways, actually, a couple prizes. So I'll explain those details in just a minute. And also this live event is in celebration of the Paper Piecers, which just opened today for enrollment. So that is my monthly membership that is all about foundation paper piecing. And I'll give more details about that later at the end if you're interested. But for the giveaway, so I actually, let me find where I put it now. So everybody who joined this live is going to get this free PDF printable that you can just, you know, keep at your machine for easy access. And I will email this to you guys at the end or maybe tomorrow morning, depending. But anyway, so these are my top tips for foundation paper piecing. There's 8 of them. So for the giveaways, I will, throughout this tutorial, I'll be sharing my top tips with you, and I'll be sure to mention before I share a tip. So keep track of them. There's 8, like I said, and at the end, if you have all 8, then you will be entered into the giveaway, and I'm going to give away some of my foundation paper piecing patterns. So keep track, get your pen and paper close to you, and I will let you know when I have a tip to share, and you can write them down. So let's see. Also, for everybody that joins at the end, I will be giving my free ebook with a pattern, and it has my granny square pattern in it. If you guys have seen it on Instagram, you know I'm making a full quilt, and it's just like my favorite, really, like, honestly, my favorite quilt right now. And I'm excited I finished all the blocks, so I need to get it sewn into rows and quilted up. But that ebook is coming your way, so it will have a full written tutorial on what I teach tonight. So you can reference that. And there's also a video tutorial with it as well. So that will be included with the email later tonight, maybe tomorrow morning. Along with the replay of this live event. So that's coming your way. So tonight we will be making a block together, and I will be walking you through step by step and showing sharing my tips with you guys. So we are going to be making this log cabin heart block, and I am actually making a full quilt of these. So you can see I've got several here already made, and I'm going really scrappy. So I'll just show you a couple real quick. Where's my camera? So Anyway, this is the block we're making tonight. I love, love, love log cabins and wanted to turn it into a heart because why not? So, okay, let's start with the tutorial. So first I wanted to share the tools you'll need for foundation paper piecing. And you probably already have all of them if you are a quilter. There's not really any specialty tools you need, which is nice because, you know, it's not always the best to have to go buy stuff. So you will need a rotary cutter, fabric scissors. I have this roller, this seam roller, and I didn't have it when I first started. I just used an iron. So if you have an iron, you can replace this. You don't need this roller thing, but this is probably my number one favorite foundation paper piecing tool. It was like $8 on Amazon, so highly recommend. Some paper scissors, and then you'll need rulers. So any ruler will do. I really like this add a quarter ruler. It just helps with, I'll show you how, adding a quarter. So, and then a longer ruler. And then you will also need some pins, your pattern. That's my cutting mat, your cutting mat. And then you'll need a light source. So I prefer a light board, which I'll show you how to use. But if you don't have a light board, you can use the light from your sewing machine, a window. I've even used my flashlight before on my phone or a regular flashlight. So, but it's just super helpful in figuring out what size fabric you need for the space. So those are the tools you will need. So like I said, nothing too out of the ordinary, which is nice. So first step you're going to do is print out your templates. Now, the very first thing you need to do is make sure it's printed correctly. So you need to make sure your scale is correct. So you can print just at 100% scale or actual size. And my very first tip for foundation paper piecing is to make sure your scale is right. So all you're going to do is all foundation paper piecing patterns come with this test square. Some pattern designers have different sizes, but you're just going to measure it. Make sure it's 1 inch. And if it is, then you're good to go. The second thing you are going to do after that is just cut out your templates along those, that dotted line. You can see. So you'll just cut out each section. Tonight we're making the 7.5 or the 7-inch log cabin heart. So there are 2 pages worth of templates, and you just cut along the dotted lines. Cut them all out. And then once you have that done, you're ready to start piecing. So my second tip, let's see. Yes, what light board do you recommend? I really love Caterpillar. They're my favorite. I've been using them for a while now. So, but there's lots of great light mats or light boards out there. Okay, so my second tip is you want to set up your space for success. There's nothing worse with sewing or foundation paper piecing where you're just, you know, everything's scattered. You have to get up a million times and back and forth, back and forth. So let me show you how I have my space set up. It's actually taken a while to get to this point, but now I have set it up for success that I love it. So I have my scrap bin handy. These are just all of my low volume background scraps that I keep really close. And then if you can see here, I have this rolling cart. Rolling cart that I keep right next to me, and it just has the flat top, and that's where I keep all of my supplies really close to me. So you can see they're literally right next to me. And then my computer's plugged in, but let me try and show you. Over here, I have this sewing machine, like Buddy, I think it's called, and it has all these pockets. And so I can just stick my tools in really quick whenever I need, and it's super nice. This was actually a free pattern from Lily Ella, and it's super, super handy. So I recommend making yourself one. if you can. Okay, so once you have your station set up, you're ready to sew. And also, if you're going to use an ironing board instead of this roller, then maybe have your ironing board here close so you're not up and down a million times. But that's what you have, that's what the roller is nice for. So let's see. The third tip I'm going to share with you guys today is to color code your templates based on what fabrics you're using. So you can see here, mine are colored in just to give you some ideas and let you know like what goes where. But let's say you're making this top piece. Whoa, where's my camera? This top piece, C. And you don't want to use yellow, then that might be confusing for you. So just get some markers and, you know, color them in based on what fabrics you're using and what placement you want them in, because that helps keep it clear. I can't tell you how many times, maybe not so much with this pattern, but I do have some other like two-toned patterns that I get them switched based on these colors. So that's my third tip, is to color them in based on what fabrics you're using, play around with the placement and see if you like it. So let's get started with our sewing. Let me get you propped up here on my table and move you around. Okay, there we go. Okay, that'll do it. So I also like to keep so I can put all of my tools in my handy little sewing cart buddy thing, whatever it's called. I'll have to find the link and send it to you. So I put my light board here. The nice thing about this Caterpillar light board is it actually comes with this cutting mat that just goes right on top. So it's very, very handy and you don't have to get up a million times. So I like to keep it here, turn it on, and it's very handy here. So let me get my first section. So we are going to start with section A, which is the middle log cabin piece. So when doing foundation paper piecing, I like to use a lot of scraps. As you can see, my scrap bin is overflowing. So they're often weird sizes, weird shapes, but it's nice because then you feel like you are not wasting fabric and you are, you know, being more sustainable and that kind of thing. So let's see. Here is my fourth tip for foundation paper piecing. When in doubt, cut your fabric bigger than you think because you can always trim it. But if it's too small, you can't ever go back. So let's start. You are going to take your A1 fabric, which I have a pretty decent size square. This is where the light source comes in handy because I can easily just put my template down here, put this up here, and I can see there's plenty of room all the way around. But you definitely want to make sure that your fabric is at least a 1/4 inch bigger all the way around than the square. So once you have that, you're going to flip your template face down, put your first A1 fabric face up, and you want to line it so it is a 1/4 inch away. Let's see if you can see it through the light. So here's the line we're going to sew on between A1 and A2. So you want to make sure your fabric goes up at least a 1/4 inch above that line between them. So place that fabric right side up. Then you're going to get your A2 fabric. And like I said, my scraps are big and wonky, but we will trim this down after. So place your A2 fabric right side down. So the wrong side is facing up. And then you are going to get a pin and pin those down so that they stay in place. You can also just hold them tightly if you want. So then we are going to sew template side up. You always sew on the paper on that solid line between A1 and A2. So then let's see, did I do my fifth tip? No. Okay, so my fifth tip is to use a light source, which I've already talked about. My sixth tip is to shorten your stitch length. Let me just bring you up real quick while I talk about this. So your stitch length kind of depends on a couple things. So the shorter your stitch length, the easier it is for the pattern, the papers to be torn out at the end, because the shorter stitch length will really perforate that paper for you. So the shorter the stitch length, the better and easier for that. Now, I would decide how often you think you are going to be seam ripping. Because if you have a super, super short stitch length and you're seam ripping a bunch, then that's going to really, really ruin the template. So if you're very confident that you are not going to be seam ripping, then go for a shorter stitch length. If you think at all that you might have to seam rip, then maybe bump it up just a little bit. And that'll help so you don't have to reprint your templates so they don't shred apart while you're seam ripping. So I'm going to go to a 1.5. And that's kind of what I always do. So if you are thinking you might seam rip a bit, maybe go to 1.6, 1.7 if you're very confident, maybe 1.3, 1.4. But if you do the higher one, it'll still be easy to tear out. Okay, so let's go back to the machine. Okay, so we are ready. I've shortened that stitch length and we are ready to sew. Put your needle down. So there's a bit of discussion in the foundation paper piecing world whether you want to backstitch at the start and beginning or not. Start and end, sorry. I do like to, but you will find that your seam will get a little bit bulkier, but to me, that's okay. So just sew on that line, backstitch if you'd like. And then you can see I've just sewn right on that line. Okay, you can take your pin out. And then if your fabrics were really big or wonky, I would recommend trimming this edge down to be about 1/4 inch. But since I lined it up to be that size, then I can just go ahead and open this fabric. So now both sides are facing up. I like to finger press a little bit because sometimes you'll see with smaller piecing and awkward angles, you can get like it warped. And you can make it a little bit stretched out and weird. So finger press that. This is where the roller comes in handy. You just roll it. If you don't have the roller, then go ahead and press that open with your iron. Okay, so now we have those two done and we're making some progress. We're going to go ahead and do A3. So first thing you're going to do is lay this right side up. And you are going to fold the template on that solid line. The line between A1, A2, and A3. So fold it back on there, and then you are going to trim 1/4 inch away from that. So this is where this cutting mat comes in handy. You don't have to move. And this is also where the add 1/4 ruler comes in handy because it has this ledge and you just butt this edge up against the paper and it gives you this perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance. It's so nice. So let me see, where's my camera? And you're just going to butt that up right there and then get your rotary cutter and give it a nice trim. And then that's what it'll look like, a beautiful edge. So then you can flip that back up and then lay the template face down. We are going to get our A3 fabric, which I'm just using this one, and line it up right along that edge. Right along that edge so they're nice and even. And then you want to make sure that this bottom part hanging out is at least 1/4 inch away from this line right here, because that'll be your 1/4 inch seam down there. So make sure that is far away. That's where the light source comes in handy again. Okay, so then you're going to pin them together. And see, mine's like plenty big enough, but you'll also want to make sure that your fabric's covering the top line up here. So I've got plenty of room. Okay, so that is face down. And we turn the template right side up and sew along that solid line. That's just why I love foundation paper piecing, is because, to be honest, I'm not the most accurate traditional piecing piecer. And then I found foundation paper piecing and everything's perfect. Every point is intact. You're never gonna, excuse me, you're never gonna lose points. Everything is intact. Okay, so I'm just finger pressing that open slightly and then rolling it. And then you can see we have our first 3 pieces and it's coming together. Often with FPP, you're like, what the heck am I doing? And then at the very end, it comes together. So if this overage is gonna bother you, go ahead and trim that, but to me, it's okay. All right, we're ready for A4. So what we're gonna do is the exact same thing. Fold along that solid line. And then we're going to do that same thing. We just have a little bit to trim, but put it down on your cutting mat and cut 1/4 inch away. This just keeps the back of your piece very nice. It keeps it so that your seams aren't huge and bulky. And then we have that. So flip that back up. We're going to do A4. So template goes face down. And then get your A4 fabric. Line it up with that line, and always taking into consideration that you need to go 1/4 inch past this line and make sure you're going to the edge. So then you can go ahead and pin that in place or just hold it tightly. Flip it over so that it is face up and sew again. So a couple questions I always get with foundation paper piecing is, can I stitch past the border up until like by the dotted line? And yes, you absolutely can. It'll just make your, it might make your seam a little bulkier, but it's honestly never noticeable for me. The other question I get is, oh, I've done this line and now I've gone into this A5 a little bit. That's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Because when you stitch that A5 line all the way here, you will not notice that goes away. So it's pretty forgiving, to be honest. So go ahead and open that piece up, finger press, and then you're going to roll it or go and iron it. Okay, so now we're at our last A5 piece, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Fold that down on that line. And then trim 1/4 inch away. I also have a garbage can next to me, which is very handy. Okay, so now that we have done that, we are ready to fold that back out. Template goes face down. Our A5 fabric goes right side down. This is a very big piece. So we line up that edge and I make sure it's over all the way. Okay, you can pin it down or just hold it tightly and then go ahead and stitch that line. Okay, and then you just open that, give it a quick press, and roll it out or iron. So now we have this piece, and we're just going to take this down. It's all finished, and it's looking so cute. So then you place it face down, and this is where the bigger ruler comes in handy. You are going to trim around the entire block, just right outside that dotted line. So you don't want to trim on the paper because that'll dull your rotary cutter. So I just line up my ruler on that dotted line and trim it just like that. Why is this so hard to find a camera? Okay, so, and then you'll do that all the way around, all 4 sides. So typically my flow of, look how cute that is. Isn't that so cute? So my flow with foundation paper piecing is I cut out all my templates, piece them all, and then cut them all. So here's another piece of the heart that I finished. This is section D. Now, these were all pretty straightforward. They were just straight lines, right? But sometimes with pieces, you get these angles. So you always want to make sure you're accounting for the angle, which you want to make sure you are cutting your piece of fabric big enough to accommodate this angle, because sometimes your angle will be a little like sharp, or I should have brought a example for this, but you can flip your fabric over and then it doesn't cover the whole space. So just go bigger. If you have any doubt, just go bigger. So I'm going to cut this one too, just to show you guys again, because this one's not all just like a straight square. You'll just do the exact same thing. Just moving those away. And just taking your ruler all the way around, getting as close as you can without cutting the fabric. I mean, sorry, the paper. Okay. So then when you are done with that, you're going to have all of your pieces ready to go. So I wanted to show you too, on this specific heart, you'll see this if you know, every once in a while in foundation paper piecing. So this piece is just one solid piece of the heart. And so you may be like, well, how would I do that? How would I attach that to the paper? So some people put glue, like Elmer's glue or the sewing glue, on the wrong side of the fabric and just tack it onto the wrong side of the template. But I like to just do like a basting stitch, and you can kind of see it up there, because that's in my seam allowance, so I will not be seeing that at all, but it just tacks it onto that paper. So that's nice and easy. So pretty soon you'll have all of your pieces cut and ready to go. And then you are ready to assemble. So with all foundation paper piecing patterns, they will come with assembly instructions, because you'll have all these sections, A, C, you know, they're all different letters. So there's assembly instructions once you have everything pieced on how to assemble them together. So this one and this one go together first. So you can see this is the top of the heart. So what you're going to do is you keep the paper in. You're going to, I kind of like to line them like this just to make sure I have them in the right direction. But my foundation paper piecing patterns do come with those directional arrows so that you know which way they go, and to make sure they are going to the right edges, because the amount of times I have had to seam rip. So, and then you're going to put them right sides together. You can pin them if you want. And then this is where the accuracy of foundation paper piecing is super nice, because it gives you that solid black line to sew on. So your 1/4 inch seam allowance is always correct. So I have those right sides together, and make sure, I'm just going to do this one more time. Butt those up against each other. And then you can pin them if you want, but I am just going to hold them tightly. And then you will sew on that black line all the way down. And this is what I'm talking about with foundation paper piecing. You can see you will get the perfect, why can't I find this dang camera? You will get the perfect point every time. You will never ever lose a point, which is so fantastic. So we are just going to keep assembling. You did that one. And my 7th tip for foundation paper piecing is make sure you are pressing between each section, whether it's when you're putting them all together like this or when you're piecing them on here. You just always want to make sure that you are, I didn't trim that very well, that you are pressing them nicely. And also I want to emphasize pressing and not like vigorously ironing, because since a lot of these are scraps, they're cut on the bias and they can stretch really easily. And you don't want that block, your block, to end up wonky or stretched or anything. So just press it. That's why I always start with the finger pressing. So then our next piece is, let's see, are these side pieces. So we're going to put these two together. Like I said, there's those directional arrows, A, C, and B. There we go. So we're going to put these together, right sides together, and line them up. And then sew on that black solid line. Oh my goodness, my bobbin's out, of course. Okay, well, let me wind that. Of course, right? So we'll just chat for a second while I wind it up. But are you guys the type that has like a lot of preloaded bobbins? Because I'm not, clearly. But I aspire to be that one day, be that type. So let me get this winding up. And all right, there we go. It's winding. So I hope you guys are, is the tutorial going okay? Am I going too fast? Are you following it okay? Let me know. Okay, no preloaded bobbins, good. Yes, Belle, same. I'm always like, have the best intentions, but never do. Okay, good, the tutorial's going okay. Yes, Laura, extra white around, that would be ideal. Okay, let me load this up. I'm glad that it's going okay. I have several free foundation paper piecing patterns that if you are brand new and you want to try it out first before you buy any patterns, I have several. I have, let's see, I have the granny square that I'm going to be sending to you guys, and then I have a strawberry that I collaborated with So Mary Happy. If you guys know her on Instagram, she makes literally the happiest quilts I've probably ever seen. They're so scrappy. So I collaborated with her. It's her strawberry pattern. I just made it in foundation paper piecing form. So I have that free one, and then I have a free American flag. So those are all linked in my highlights on my Instagram. So those are ready for you guys to use if you want to give it a try and practice. And I will give you guys a preview of my granny square quilts because it is so fun. All right, we're back in business. Okay, let's get you sorted here. Okay, so just stitch along that length as well. So something I get asked a lot with, okay, are we looking for tip number 7? 7 was press between each section. So I just like to finger press and then open this up. So something I get asked a lot is what kind of needle to use and does it dull your needle? And honestly, I use the exact same needles I use for traditional piecing, and it does dull your needle. So I do have to change it out more often, but I don't notice it to be too big of a problem, to be honest. Okay, so I just went and put this D section on, making sure they're all lined up. Okay, so something you want to also watch for when you're piecing your sections together is you want to make sure that you are staying accurate on both sides of the paper. So you can just check that I'm stitching directly on that black line, but then you also want to, this is where my bobbin ran out, but where's this? You also want to make sure you are stitching directly on the backside black line as well, because if you are a little off, then it will make piecing the rest of the pieces together. So we've got together. Did I finish that? It'll make it off. Did I say that? Okay. So press that one open. Next, we are going to do this little bottom piece. and put those right sides together. So I want to mention this too, actually. So a lot of my piecing patterns come with this like corner instead of just being a square that comes out to here. So that just eases the corner so it's not so bulky. When you flip them over and together. Okay, so line those up and give it a good sewn line. Okay. So then we'll press that open and you can see it's coming together now. It's looking so good. So now we are going to press that and add our edges. So this one goes to G. Go ahead and put those together. Okay, so we've got that one. Now it's really coming along. And then our last one, our last and final little cutie. Okay, so now that is finished sewing, I can prop you guys back up, flip that open, and how cute is that? Turned out so cute. Okay, so I'm going to give that a press. And now actually I would take it to my ironing station over there and give it a nice, good hot iron press. But I think it turned out really cute. And this pattern's fun for scrapping because you can use up all your scraps. Okay, so let me turn off this light board. This one's nice actually because, well, I'll just show you real quick. It has a few settings. So lightest, oops, to brightest to off. There you go. You got a quick tutorial. So light sources are awesome. So my last tip, number 8, is to have fun with it, right? Like sewing's meant to be fun. Foundation paper piecing is meant to be fun. And so I like to light a candle, get a yummy drink and a snack, and enjoy my time because that's just what it's all about. You know, we all come to our sewing room for some, you know, serenity. So just have fun with it. If you have to use your seam ripper, if you have to watch a tutorial a few times, that's okay. That's part of it. So those are my tips. Now we can do our Q&A. So please put your questions in the box and let me just pull up the chat. Okay, 1 second. Okay. So let's see. Do I press open my seams? No, I don't. Do you mean when you're, sorry, sewing it all together? You totally can. That's totally something you can do. And, but I just don't. Maybe laziness. I don't know. But it's just fine. It ends up just fine. Some of the seams, if they are lots of like intersections at one point, then I will press them open. But for ones like this, where they can just lay flat and it looks totally fine, then I would just leave them like that. Let's see. Okay, so which light board do you recommend? I really like my Caterpillar one because it has that cutting mat on it, which is super nice. But I have actually used a few. So I have a very inexpensive one from Amazon. It's okay. It depends on what you want. Some light boards have to be plugged in, which is a nuisance for me. This light board is wireless. Is that the right word? I don't know, but you don't have to have it plugged in. It runs for 4 hours and then you have to charge it. So that's super nice. Let's see. Is the light board the same as the light box? Yes, it is. What paper are you using? Good question. I'm so sorry I forgot to answer. So there's a couple options with foundation paper piecing pattern. Paper, regular printer paper, or specific FPP paper or newsprint. So I use regular printer paper mainly because it's cheap, mainly because it's accessible. I always have it. I have purchased the specific FPP paper and it is really nice. It tears out super easy. It prints fine. Sometimes the colors are lighter on it than like traditional paper. So it just depends what you want. This doesn't rip out as easy, which usually I rip out after I finish the block, and I'll show you. You just can just hold it and tear it out just really easy. It's very satisfying. Do it while you're watching a show or something. So you can also get a water pen. Caroline Moore, she has a really good water pen. And I think I got mine off Amazon. And you can just like use water down the edges, just a little bit of water, don't soak it, and then it'll tear out super easy. So you can go whatever way you want. I've heard some school teachers can get newsprint really easily from their schools, so they just use newsprint and it's handy for them, but I just use regular printer paper. Let's see, can I send a link to all the tools you use? Yes, good question. I will definitely do that. Yes, I'll get that ready for you guys. And I'll send it with all of the things. If you've printed too big or too small and you're just making one block, that's not too big of a deal. It will just be bigger or smaller. The only thing is your seam allowance will be off. Your 1/4 inch seam will be off. So you'd have to remeasure that. Number 2 is, let's see, set up your space for success. 3 is color code your templates based on the fabrics you're using. 4 is when in doubt, cut your fabric bigger than you think. 5 is use a light source. 6 is shorten your stitch length. 7 is press between each section. And 8 is have fun. Enjoy it. Okay, let's see. What size needle? Yes, just your regular needle. Do you use a walking foot? No, I just use my regular presser foot. Is that what it's called? It just came with my machine. You could use a walking foot. Tips for removing paper. You can use specific foundation paper piecing paper or use a little bit of water if you want, or the shortest stitch length you can handle. Tips for keeping fabric from shifting. That's very good because like I said, you cut a lot of your scraps on the bias, so they are really, really stretchy. So I pin it to make sure it's not going to move. Going slow, using the shorter stitch length. You can starch if you want your fabrics beforehand. That's totally something that you could do. But just making sure when you're pressing between each piece to not be pulling it, just very gently pressing. Let's see. Tips on directional fabric. I love this question because I'm so passionate about directional fabric. I have a full YouTube tutorial just for you on directional fabric. That's a full tutorial in and of itself, but it's on my YouTube right now. I think it's called Tips for Directional Fabric, but it's so fun, you guys, when you get that down to use directional fabric. So go watch that and it'll give you all the tips. I love it. Let's see. Hummingbird only available to members. Yes, the hummingbird was the very first pattern in the paper piecers, and typically the patterns are only available the month they are released. But since it was such a fan favorite, I brought it back this time for you can purchase it separately. So I've loved seeing the hummingbirds. Are you okay with wasting fabric? No, I love to try and be as sustainable as possible. That's why I have, you guys can see, this whole tub of scraps. And this isn't even the only one. I have that small one. So I just keep all of my scraps. I keep such tiny scraps too. Sometimes I'm like, why are you keeping that? But like, seriously? But I will use this, I promise. So yes, I try to minimize waste. I also like making pillows, or I've even made a dog bed where if my scraps are getting too crazy, I stuff them in the pillows or dog bed, and you can just use that instead of having to buy the other stuff. So let's see. Are you using Liberty fabric? This one right here is Liberty. But this is Heather Ross. Some of these are Lori Holt, the cutesy, like, I think this one down here. Some Ruby Star, Art Gallery, a little bit of everything, a little mixture. Can you tape a pattern if you accidentally tear it? Yes, for sure. Try and minimize having to reprint for sure. Where do they send their giveaway entry? Yes, we'll do it in the chat. So just hang tight for that. And where do I get most of my fabric from? Good question. So I love online shops, like small shops. Etsy shops are my favorite. I love Sewtopia here in Utah. They do online orders as well. They're fantastic. But Piper Autumn Fabrics, let's see. Little Quilting Closet, although I think she's closing. I just did a story on a bunch of my favorites. But yes, I love Sewtopia. She has such bright, like probably you could find most of these there, except for maybe the cutesy ones. The like little ditzy ones, you know what I'm saying? I love bright fabrics and stuff, but you can find lots on Etsy. Let's see. How often are your live streams? This is my first one, so not too often. But if you guys are enjoying it, maybe I'll do some more. Do I go through a lot of ink? Yes, I do. Printing all mine, especially when I'm doing a full quilt. I do go through a lot of ink. How do we get the gardening patterns? They are April's patterns in the membership. So if you want to join, they are there waiting for you. This heart pattern was February's pattern in the membership, but it was also a fan favorite. So I brought it back again for if you want to add it on. Let's see. So yes, I have, like I said, I have quite a few free patterns. So let me just show you real quick. An example of my free ones. Okay, so with this live, you're going to be getting this granny square. And I took the papers out already, but it's super easy, super beginner friendly. I love it. I have a full wall of them right now. Another free pattern I have is the strawberry, like I was telling you about. So this is the smaller size, and this is the bigger size. Can you even see it all? It's super big. It's like 15 by 21, which is nice because then you can make a full quilt pretty easily, which is my plan. And then I have the American flag one, which is if you are not on Instagram. So like I said, if you're on Instagram, they're in my highlights. If you're not on Instagram, email me and I will send them to you. My email is lizataylorhandmade@gmail.com and I will send them all. Let's see. Okay, somebody wants to know more about the membership. I would love to tell you. Okay, and yes, so somebody's wondering about the hummingbird block. So the membership, you guys, let me pull this up. The membership is called the Paper Piecers because we are paper piecers. And what it entails is a new FPP block every month. And then there are also project patterns that live permanently in the membership. Because oftentimes I was making these FPP blocks and then I was like, what do I do with them? I have all these blocks and nothing to do with them. And I wanted patterns that you can stick them right into and use and display in your home and so the project patterns, there's new ones every few months. They live permanently there. And there's also a community where we, seek advice, we post our makes, we ask questions, we get to know each other, monthly challenges with prizes, and monthly meetups. So this month, for instance, we're having Sarah Brown come. She is like, I just saw her page on Instagram and I fell in love with her stuff. She makes amazing things. She's like the queen of applique. She's coming to teach us about applique, which I'm super excited. So monthly meetups where we might do a show and share. We might have teachers come teach us things, all those kind of things. So those are in the membership. I wanted to show you guys the 2 new project patterns that I just added today because I'm so obsessed with them. So the first is a double oven mitt, and I put one of the heart blocks into it. But it's so fun because now I have something beautiful to hang on my oven rack and something beautiful to use. So that's one of the project patterns. And then the second project pattern that has April's gardening blocks on it. These are April's blocks, the fork and the shovel. So the second project pattern is a pinafore apron. So it lays like this, and then the back crosses. And it's like that. And it's fun because you can put whatever FPP blocks you want on the front, on the pockets. So those are the 2 new project patterns. And you guys, I have something exciting too. This comes in kids sizes. So later this week, I will be uploading the kids pattern, which I'm so excited about to make for my daughters. So it's like mommy and me. The hummingbird block, that is available as like an add-on purchase if you wanted to buy it because it was January's pattern, but it is available if you want to snag it still. Are the patterns available to download in the membership? Yes. So once you download them, you have them for life. So the only thing, they just go away on the website. But if you ever miss it or, didn't get a chance to download it, just email me and I send it over to you. But yeah, once you download them on your computer, you have them forever. Let's see. So the heart pattern isn't on Etsy. It's in the membership. That's the only place that it's available right now. The membership is $10 a month, and you can cancel anytime. There is an annual option for 20%, gives you a 20% discount for $99 for the year. So let's see. But like I said, you can cancel it whenever. And it's just been so fun to get to know people in the community. There's always conversations going on. There's always, people sharing what they're making. And it's just nice to have. That's what I've been longing for. So let's see. I'm so glad you're liking the apron. The apron pattern and this double oven mitt pattern come with video tutorials because I am, I was started as a quilter and have just gotten into garment sewing. And so video tutorials are very helpful for me. So yes, I made video tutorials. So if you've never made a garment, I walk you through with a video. And this is actually a really, really beginner friendly pattern to start on. We just do double fold hems and then a French seam, which sounds fancy, and it is fancy, but it's not hard. So that's your French seam. So it's really easy to make, and it's going to be fun for gardening or cooking, sewing. I have a friend, actually, we go to do open sews together, and she wears an apron like this. I'm like, that is so genius, especially for foundation paper piecing. You can just stick all your tools right on in there, and I might have to adopt that. Might have to put my sewing notions patterns on there. That would be fun. Let's see some other questions. Let's see. Okay, I think that's it. So for the giveaway, put your tips 1 through 8 in the chat, And then my friend Jess will randomly choose a couple people. We'll have 2 winners to win some of my FPP patterns. So you are going to win the Sewing Notions pattern bundle, which are these ones right here. So it comes with all of these FPP Sewing Notions patterns. So 2 winners will both win all of those. And if you already have them and if you are the winner, I'll send you different ones. So I'll give you a couple minutes to put them in. Looks like you guys got them. That's so good. Oh, awesome. So while you guys are getting those entries in, if you are interested in joining the Paper Piecers, it's all linked on my Instagram and emails and stuff, but it's just thepaperpiecers.com. And you can go get all the info again, see it all recap, decide if it's a good fit for you. But it's there, and I will also include the link in our recap email for this with the replay and everything. But I hope you guys will join me. I would love to get to know you there and see your makes and support each other and stuff. So, okay, it's looking like you're getting them in. Oh, Sherry, I'm so glad it's been easy to follow. So I also do have several free videos on my YouTube with full tutorials. So I have that directional fabric one. I have tips for tiny foundation paper piecing because my blocks all come in a 3-inch mini size. So those are all on my YouTube. I have this presentation in a video as well. So lots there. I saw somebody asked about the free patterns again. They're all linked on my Instagram under highlights. The strawberry pattern is available. Like if you click the link in my bio, it'll say get your free strawberry pattern. And if you don't have Instagram, feel free to email me, lizataylorhandmade@gmail.com, and I will email them to you. So, but yeah, go test those out. Give FPP a try. See if you like it. See if it's a good fit for you. Visit the YouTube if you need to like revisit anything. I'm going to be honest. I found a video when I very first started foundation paper piecing and watched it every time I did FPP for maybe a month or so. And then all of a sudden it just clicked. So I know that the same will happen for you if you just, are dedicated wanting to learn. So let's see. Okay. Alrighty. We're going to draw some winners just randomly from the chat. Thank you guys so much for participating. Let's see. Okay. Yes. Somebody said, will you post a reel where you get your fabrics? Yes, absolutely. I would love to do that. I love shopping for fabric. So I'd love to share. All right, so let's draw our winners. Our first one is Julie Taylor. And yes, you do like to shop. Okay, great. Okay, Julie Taylor, you are first one. So be sure to leave your email in the chat. Yep. And then I will email you the patterns. And our second one is Megan Pullen. So Megan too, if you can leave your email in the chat. Thank you guys so much for participating and writing in the steps. So this will be sent to you so you can print it out and keep it by your machine and for easy access. But thank you guys so much for joining me, Megan and Julie. If I don't grab your emails here, I will you can send them to me. Just email me, lizataylorhandmade@gmail.com, and I will send them to you. So thank you guys so much. If you have any more questions, email me. Feel free, and we can chat there or DM me. Oh, yay, Carol. I'm so excited to have you. Let's see, Megan. It was Megan Pullen. Pullen. So feel free to ask any questions you have and go get those free patterns. Try it out. See what you like. Okay. Oh, thank you guys. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Let's see. Oh, Amy, I'm so excited to have you. Thank you guys. You're so sweet. Thanks, Belle. Let's see. Rebecca, Debbie. Oh, I'm so glad you guys had a good time. Thank you for joining me. Yes, Julie, try the first FPP. You'll be hooked, you guys. You'll be hooked. Megan Pullen and Julie Taylor, if you can leave your emails for the winners. What is the website for the patterns? Is it the free patterns or the membership? The free patterns are all linked in my Instagram. They're not on my website yet, but TBD, they will be. But yeah, they're all linked to my Instagram, Judy, or you can email me for them. And yes, okay. I'm so glad you guys had fun. I did too. Thanks for hanging out with me. What's my email address? Let me put it in the chat real quick. Okay, there you go. Yep, it's just my name, Liza Taylor Handmade. Oh, I'm so glad you learned a lot, Susan. That means a lot. Julie, the log cabin heart is not one of my free patterns. It's in the membership. And website, this one is Liza. My website is lizataylorhandmade.com, or you can go to www.thepaperpiecers.com for the membership. And Instagram is Liza Taylor Handmade. That is a very loud car outside, if you can hear that. Okay. Well, let's see. Have I done any animals? No, I have not. But one day, hopefully I will. Yes, you can rewatch it. I will email it out to everybody that joined here. So there will be a replay. Oh, Angela, you're so nice. Do you have a Buy My Shop bundle? You're so sweet. That really made my day. Okay, friends. Well, thank you so much. Like I said, if you have more questions, please feel free to email me and we can chat there. So thank you again, and I'll see you later. Bye.